Sometimes the people we call selfish were just the people who were hurting and needed someone to understand them. People often say suicide is selfish, but have you ever stopped to ask yourself what kind of pain someone must be feeling to feel like leaving is their only option? Today, I want to talk about something that people often say a lot, but I don't think they really stop to think about it. When suicide is mentioned, one of the first things people stop to say is that it's selfish, and I understand why people feel that way. Pain spreads to the people who love that person, but I also think that sometimes we say that word so quickly that we forget to ask a deeper question. What kind of pain does someone have to be in to feel like they can't stay anymore? Sometimes, instead of trying to understand the pain, we judge the person. Opening up isn't easy. One thing people don't talk about enough is how hard it is for someone to open up in the first place. Sometimes it takes everything in someone just to tell one person how they feel. Maybe a parent, maybe a sibling, maybe someone they trust. And when they finally do, they're not looking for solutions right away. They're not looking to be fixed. Most of the time, they're just hoping that person can be a safe place for them. But sometimes that safe place doesn't stay safe. Sometimes what you trusted someone with ends up being shared with other family members. And suddenly, the one thing you were brave enough to say out loud becomes something everyone is talking about. Feeling misunderstood. And that can make someone feel even more alone. Because instead of feeling understood, they start feeling exposed, misunderstood, maybe even embarrassed. Sometimes people don't really take the time to sit down and understand what someone is feeling. They might brush it off or say things that make it seem like the person is overreacting. And when that happens, the person who opened up might start thinking, maybe I shouldn't have said anything at all. When pain gets compared, I remember someone once said, I was acting like I was more depressed more than anyone else. And that statement will stay with me for a very long time. Because pain isn't something you compare. Pain isn't a competition. Just because someone else is struggling, it doesn't mean your feelings suddenly stop being real. Everyone carries things differently. Everyone processes pain differently. But when someone hears something like that, it can make them feel like their pain is being minimized, like they're being dramatic, like they should just be quiet about what they're feeling. Being called selfish. And then sometimes, after people don't really try to understand the pain, they label a person as selfish. But when someone is drowning emotionally, they're usually not thinking about hurting anyone. They're thinking about escaping the weight of what they're feeling. And sometimes that weight feels so heavy that they don't see a way out. The guilt that comes later. And what's heartbreaking is after something tragic happens, people often feel guilty. They start saying things like, I wished I listened more. I didn't know it was that serious. I wish I asked more questions. But sometimes all that person wanted in the first place was someone to sit with them, listen to them, and make them feel safe enough to talk. I think conversations like this should remind us of something important. Sometimes people aren't asking you to fix their life. Sometimes they just want to know that someone cares enough to listen. without judgment. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone is simply your presence. So before we quickly label someone as selfish, maybe we should pause and ask ourselves something deeper. Did anyone truly try to understand what that person was carrying? Did anyone create a space where they felt safe enough to say how bad things really were? Because sometimes what people need most in their darkest moments is someone willing to sit in the darkness with them and remind them that they're not alone. Sometimes the most life changing thing you can give to someone isn't advice, it's simple the feeling that they're not alone. Because overthinking wasn't enough. Signing out. XOXO Gossip Girl.